Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, interesting things going on in the world today. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. My brother Gary and I will be doing a live this Thursday, March 4th. No, is it the 4th? Let's see, today's the 3rd. Monday the 3rd, Tuesday the 4th, March 6th. This Thursday, March 6th, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be doing a live show, and Dr. Lena Rodriguez from Lena Down Under will be on the show. I don't know what she did wrong to deserve that, or what form of masochistic torture she wants to put herself through, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, check us out. I've got a link up on the community page. You can go to my main page and look in the live. It'll be there. Hit the notification bell so you get notified and you don't miss a minute of it. All right, so Trump was doing a good job today, building up business opportunities in Arizona, then just said, oh, by the way, I'm going to absolutely positively enforce a 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada tomorrow, and then watch the stock market tank. I really do wonder if they're going to look at him for market manipulation, because he did a lot of market manipulation type stuff, announcements and things like that in his first term. And it looks like he's back up to his shenanigans here. I mean, not that this is a surprise. He said he was going to put 25% tariffs in there. He delayed them a month. But that seems to just, again, that's his cudgel. That's his now go-to. And the only reason why it's 25% is that 50% was too much and 10% is not strong enough. That's pretty much going to be his logic. So that'll be fun. That'll impact the markets. The other thing that I see going on here is he's really upset that all the European leaders are coalescing around Ukraine after the little debacle on Friday in the White House. I would say I wouldn't have been surprised, but maybe he was. Now, there is a hot rumor that shouting can be heard from the Oval Office that, or the West Wing, I don't know which. But basically, Trump was upset because Europe's actions are going to cost him his Nobel Peace Prize. Aww. But, does that sound par for the course with him? He wants to be Time Magazine of the Year and he wants to get the Nobel Peace Prize. So we could just add that to his resume. So, the EU is not going to give it to him and let this war end easily or quickly, and he's going to be upset about that. So, what's he going to do? Because, everything's about doubling down in revenge. And the folks in the EU clearly weren't loyal friends and clearly are conspiring against him, and that's going to make him angry and they need to be punished. So he's already hit him with the threat of 20% tariffs on vehicles from the EU in Germany. I'm curious if he's going to try and pull out of NATO. Now, in his first term, he kept threatening the U.S. was going to pull out unless other countries paid their fair share. You have to understand that Putin is the one calling the shots here, and Trump is just doing whatever Putin tells him to do. Berating President Zelensky in front of Congress was a moment sure to make Putin happy and get the Russian news media saying how Trump is going to be great and he's going to really help Russia out, that type of stuff. I don't know if Putin didn't think the EU was going to coalesce. Maybe he thought they would, but I don't think that worked out exactly like he wanted to. So now you have to up the stakes. I think Trump's going to start making noise that he wants to pull the U.S. out of NATO, and maybe might even do it. At which point, again, he's giving up the mantle as the U.S. as the leader of the free world, is going to hand that mantle over to somebody else. And all the isolationists in the United States will be thrilled to death that we're no longer a NATO nation and we didn't need them anyways, and yada, yada, yada. And all I'm thinking is we are kicking ourselves out of the club where We controlled them. We called all the shots. And now we're having temper tantrums. I don't think it'll get us kicked out of the G7. But, oh, God. And I was just telling Michelle last night, he's only been in office for 6 weeks. Oh, my God. It doesn't even feel like 6 weeks. It feels like 6 years. He should have been out of office 2 years ago. So, I want to read energy around Trump and NATO right now. Because, or maybe more to the point, Trump and the EU's actions. I've read on that the other day. I don't think he's real happy about it. I actually read more on them and Zelensky. And then I read on Putin in it. But I want to read on Trump, the EU, and the Nobel Prize. And then I want to see how he might retaliate, focusing on NATO. Okay, so that's kind of the general gist is Trump's revenge tour as we enter in March. All right, so come on down. Entertainment purposes only. Donald Trump and the EU. How is he feeling now that they are delaying or denying him his Nobel Peace Prize? Page of Swords. Talk about somebody who's run out of ideas. Of course, this could also be Agent Krasnov. Okay, so we have Page of Swords. Messaging about new ideas. It's non-expertise in something in a low energy. Could be a spy in the camp. What are we going to cross this with? 9 of Swords and the burden underneath. And it could be both. If it's a spy in the camp, he's doing what Putin tells him to do and he keeps effing it up. And makes things harder. I think, okay. Trump's ineptitude, his room temperature IQ is causing nightmares for people, and he makes everybody's life harder. I think Trump is also stressed out because he wanted that Nobel Peace Prize, and he's his own worst enemy with it. Let's go see what we've got going on here. 6 of Coins in the past. This is his vision that the U.S. has been so generous to Ukraine. It's been so generous to NATO and so generous to the European countries that they should be rewarding him for his generosity, not punishing him and making life difficult. How am I going to get that Nobel Peace Prize now? Talk about he's a one-trick pony. He doesn't have any ideas. Current situation is the Lover's card. Is this Putin and him? No. I think what this is that he's messed up the relationship. The great relationship that the United States has had with our allies for 80 plus years. He's taking a piss in the neighbor's pool after 80 years of being good neighbors because he feels like they're too generous and they don't show the appreciation for what they've got. Okay, so there you go. This is like an Adam and Eve card. And Adam and Eve had the Garden of Eden and ate the apple, then got kicked out of the Garden of Eden because the one rule is don't eat the apple. To which those who watch Good Omens would probably align with the Aleister Crowley character, who would say, "Well, why put the apple there if you're not supposed to eat it? Why put it there in the first place?" So, because they didn't appreciate what they had, they got booted. Now, I don't think that's in the Bible. That's really what it's all about. This is about the truth and such. But if you follow kind of the lower energy of it, they did bad things that got kicked out. They weren't sufficiently loyal. They didn't follow the rules that he was dictating. Oh, God. Overarching energy, 3 of Swords, heartbreak and betrayal. Oh, Nobel Peace Prize. He was going to bring everybody together, but they screwed it up. These ungrateful people messed it up. Oh, no. Now we bring out the Mad King Nero. Oh, you're going to prevent me from getting my Nobel Peace Prize. He's about to flex. He is going to flex. and mayhem will ensue. He's pissed. And when he's pissed, he wants revenge, and he's going to lash out. He is going to cause problems. He will do whatever he can to... Five of Wands is the outcome for those who are listening and not seeing it. He is going to cause problems. He's going to beat on the hornet's nest. And all those people fighting in there are going to get stoned because he doesn't care. That's the thing is, he doesn't really care about consequences. To him, getting revenge, you denied me something, I'm allowed to do whatever I want to, as much as I want to, as severe as I want to, for as long as I want to, because you deserve it. That, by the way, is classic narcissistic behavior. You can only imagine that Putin's egging him on at this point. Will Trump threaten to pull out of... Well, yeah, I'm going to say if he'll pull out of NATO. First off, will he threaten economic sanctions on the EU? I think he already did with the 25% tariffs on automobiles, but then he said, well, pretty much everything. Is he gonna hit them with tariffs? Page of Pentacles, yeah, this is kind of, yeah, you're gonna pay with money type of idea. I'll show them. So you got the Page of Pentacles, the Hermit card, the King of Pentacles, money, 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 oligarchs, and Seven of Cups, delusions, Knight of Wands, moving the plan along. Yeah, he's gonna hit them with tariffs. That's gonna be the plan all along. You know, he'll make them pay, because obviously the other countries pay the tariffs, and he will, he'll look to see if anybody's going to grift for him. But he's going to show them what happens when you mess with Donald Trump, because he's crazy. Donald Trump doesn't care that tariffs are a double-edged sword. Does it crash the economy? He doesn't care. He's got his money. He'll be fine. No, this is cutting off your nose to spite your face kind of energy there, because he doesn't care. Consequences don't matter to him because he doesn't ever suffer them. And he's never suffered consequences in his life this side of the E. Jean Carroll case. And he still hasn't paid money for that, other than he had to put it in a holding account. But he hasn't had to actually have it taken away from him, which I'm sure will cause him to absolutely lose his mind. All right. NATO. I want to read on Trump and NATO. What is the future of NATO with regards to Donald Trump in the United States? Is Trump going to use NATO as his next tool to threaten the world with? And by NATO, I mean withdrawing from NATO. And if he does that, that gives the EU the ability to say... Now, I want you to sort of play this tape through. If Trump doesn't... Right now, he's saying he doesn't want Ukraine and NATO because that's going to start World War III. As if Russia invading Ukraine shouldn't have started World War III, but I digress. If the EU... If the EU tries to get Ukraine and NATO, the US can say no, and it only takes one NATO nation to stop a country from getting into NATO. And the U.S. right now, according to Trump, would be the one that's going to say no for the next 4 years. But what if the U.S. isn't in NATO? Well, then NATO, if they want to put Ukraine in, can. And now Russia's at war with all of NATO. And France apparently is talking about putting boots on the ground in Ukraine. So, are things escalating? Maybe. Maybe. Remember, Putin's always threatened to launch nukes if red lines are crossed, and Ukraine and NATO partners have crossed several lines, and I don't see any nukes flying around. So maybe the folks that have their fingers on the button don't want to press the button over there, even though Putin might want them to. But U.S., NATO. What's Trump's idea about the U.S. and NATO after the most recent events here? Oh, yeah. Four of Cups. Not liking the options that you're being given. This is kind of a tantrum. I'm not getting my way. Nothing's good enough. Crossed with the Page of Pentacles. Okay, kind of like we just had the the tariffs thing, this is going to be another one of those, I'll teach them a thing or two. Like maybe starting off with the U.S., either complaining that they're not paying their fair share because that's his mantra, or he's going to not, the U.S. isn't going to contribute towards NATO or something along those lines. But there's a money component to go with this dissatisfaction. And then you got the four swords underneath, and I think this is the withdraw card. This is the U.S. wanting to withdraw from NATO because he's not getting his way and he's got very limited tools in his toolbox. In the past, the Two of Wands, this is going to be him wanting to come out. Why do I say that? Because the Two of Wands, he's talked about this action before. He's talked about withdrawing the U.S. from NATO before, unless people paid more, which they started doing. So you think that would solve the problem, right? No. It just means that he got his way with this, and what else can he get his way with? Yeah. Current situation, Ace of Pentacles. He's gonna want other nations either to pay a lot more money, or the U.S. pays less money to make up for all, or the U.S. gets all the money because we've paid for everybody forever, and now they all owe us lots of money. This is going to be withdrawing of funds or wanting people to pay more. He's going to bring up the money issue again. Again, he's got a limited quiver, or a limited toolbox. His toolbox basically involves a hammer. And when your only tool is a hammer, all your problems look like nails. Overarching energy is Five of Swords. Yeah, without NATO, if the U.S. pulls out of NATO, NATO is nothing. Yeah, he's gonna flex big time on them. I'm gonna take my marbles and leave. Yeah, because he thinks that, again, that the U.S. is NATO, and without the U.S., NATO's not in there. Lesson to be learned is the Hierophant. Outcome is the Two of Coins. If he tries to pull out of NATO, there's going to be pushback on this. Because a lot of what drives the U.S. economy and U.S. success is our ability to dictate terms in the world, as the leader of the free world, it's to dictate terms that are favorable to us. We spend more money, we spend more resources, therefore we get the first slice of cake, and we get the biggest slice of cake. And if you're going to absolve yourself of all those responsibilities, well, somebody else gets to have that slice of cake. And his poor ego cannot handle that. So he's going to have a tantrum, and he's going to hold his breath and say that we're going to leave NATO. And once he starts threatening that, I do think that some folks on the GOP side, the ones that actually understand, the value of a State Department and U.S. influence around the world and stuff like that, they may start making noise. I think, well, let's see. Will the Republican Party think he's just blustering? Or will they take him serious? How will the Republican Party react should Trump start saying he wants to pull out of NATO? Is there a collective spine? Is really what I want to find out here. Three of Wands. It's like they're waiting for the next step. Hanged Man, the Hermit, and the Hierophant. Oh, wow. 3 major arcana explaining it. It's like, what's Congress going to do, or the GOP is going to do? They're looking overseas. They're evaluating the money and the worth. Do we go forward with this? What's the consequences of doing this in our influence around the world? It's going to be a fight between the isolationists and normal conservatives. Normal conservatives would back NATO because, again, it allows the U.S. to project dominance around the world. MAGA won't want it because they want to save money wherever possible. But they don't understand that NATO is on the expense sheet, but they probably don't see the benefits of U.S. involvement in NATO because it's hard to quantify. Will they grow a backbone? I don't know. There's going to be a strong reaction to it. That is for sure. Is that enough to divide the Republican Party? I don't know. You got the 3 of Wands. It's kind of one of those things that they're going to they'll deal with it when it comes, but they kind of see it coming. One last one. Will there be anything that derails Donald Trump? Or maybe from a spiritual perspective, Trump and NATO, what does Spirit want us to know about Trump, NATO, the United States, the future of the United States and NATO, that sort of thing? Is there even a there? The World card. Either brings things to an end or it brings the world together. Your Six of Cups, which is my very European card here. Nine of Wands. The penultimate battle. Kind of a weariness. King of Swords. If the U.S. pulls out, Europe unites. And in some ways, it's kind of like, well, they're finally gone. You know, is it gone? Is it finally gone? And it's just like, okay, you pull down a NATO, fine, that becomes the new European alliance or something along those lines. There's a fine type attitude here. You left, fine. We get to call the shots. We'll deal with the consequences. You know, this would have been an easier battle with you. But if you want to leave, then leave. We'll be just fine. It's almost like you give them you give Europe a common enemy here. I think what Spirit's saying is like the U.S. may stay, the U.S. may go, but what it's saying is that if the U.S. leaves, NATO or an organization that replaces NATO will be fine. Europe will unite. Hell, they might invite Canada and Mexico to join too, because F you. All right. Good times, everyone. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.